Yeah,
I
no problem.
apologize to everybody for keeping you waiting.
That happens all the time up here. All right. We'll go ahead and get things started. And may I have a motion for to approve today's agenda?
I so move, Marcia.
Thank you,
I'll
Marcia.
second it.
I got Lida.
Beat ya.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And next item is approval of the November 17th, 2025 meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve those? There are no objections.
I'll second that, Shelby.
Oh, and who made the motion? I didn't catch them.
Also move if there's no motion.
All right. Thank you, Shelby. And a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Lida. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I know our public that is often here, Sherry and Cass, they could not make it because of another meeting. So we'll move right into the treasurer's report. And Danny was able to send that out to us a little bit ago. So thanks for sending that, Danny.
You bet.
I can share my screen or you can just change the settings so that you can share yours if you'd like.
Actually, if you want to just go ahead and share the narrative one, I think
Okay.
that short and sweet. Everybody can look at that and we can go from there.
I will do that right now.
Anyways, yeah, let you keep the controls.
No problem.
So here we have the treasury report. So I've got in the November interest payment of $2,167.91, bringing us up with a total inflow of $3,1,665,564.03. So, that just kind of pointing out, it's nice that we had that interest income there. There was another $400 or $4,000 in there from donations that we got. So we did get the approval and the allocation of the grant to the Lake Elmer Basin's Performance Association for their trip to Disneyland. That's at $12,979. Bring us total grants approved is $2,567,948.23. We had maintenance for the website for October, November that was paid since the last we put this out, with a total of expenditures of $265,940.36. Our current balance here is that $331,675.44. Looking at our current commitments with the Indian Valley Chamber, IVS-CSD transparency and communication dollars that we committed to is $25,000 of that. So our total commitments at this point is $329,620. So really we've got paid out 99.94% of the inflow that we've had. So we're right there. And we've got an available funds of $2,055.44. And that is going with North Valley Community Fund, not splitting that 25,000 that we have. So, we would, get, 12,000 of that back if they do go ahead and split, but that's just our commitment is the whole amount. Pat, you got something there?
No, I mean, not right now. I think my my camera like read my hand or something like that. I'm trying to lower it right now. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Actually, but on that, I did send that over to Kim, and their committee will discuss the potential of splitting the $25,000 with us this week. So they're gonna, I think on Thursday they meet. So yeah, then it may be 12.5 from us and 12.5 for them for the CSD transparency and community communication grant.
Yeah, so that's what we would have there. The other thing, so we have that in our commitments, that 329,000, 300 of that is, as we all know, is the Rancheria rebuild. But we'll have to talk about so we've got $4,000, little $4,320 of a 6-month running commitment for communications, so that'll evaporate when we get down, but we have carried that as to kind of as a reserve so we don't spend it. And then so we need to be aware of that. Also, we've got hanging in there a $300 commitment to use the Grange Hall. Well, I guess we have to call it the Historic Tazewell Hall now, for the long-term recovery plan meetings, but I understood that never went anywhere. So do we remove that as a commitment?
I think that was from that. I think that was paid, Danny, like because that was back in 2023. I think the last meeting that was held there was September of 2023 because that's right when I came aboard. And Tracy Ferguson had done a series of meetings there throughout the summer. Well, not the summer, but from the spring into the summer. I think she did 3. And that's what I think that's from, but I can find out.
Well, the thing was, I think it came down to it was who was going to get the money because, was it the Grange that was going to get the money or was it the squatters that were going to get the money? I'm not quite sure. So I think that's why it's still there.
Huh.
But I'd be willing to like to take it off, but I just want to make sure because I don't think any money was paid to anyone for that
Okay.
that I'm aware of. So that's kind of the cleanup on that.
Okay. Greg, you have your hand up?
Yeah, so the money from Tyler's project from the RRA or RRA, that's not accounted for in this budget?
That's not coming back
Isn't
yet.
that supposed to come back to us?
That's still
All
out
right.
there to come back. It's got to get the commitment through. They've got till the end of the year, I believe, and until it's signed off for everybody, that it still is potential will come back, but the I's and T's have not been dotted and crossed.
Yeah, this is kind of
Okay.
a chickens before they hatch type of thing. Like there really shouldn't be a reason that we shouldn't receive. So of the $600,000 that was committed a year ago, there really shouldn't be a reason that the DFC won't get back $584,500. But until it happens, like until we actually like get like everybody's free and clear of like, okay, the Amador Foundation, that was money that was supposed to be yours, but now it's not because the pretenses of the grant have not been satisfied, nor does it look like they are. And the December 25th was the timeline for that. Then we should be able to recoup that money this month. But until it's like officially like in writing and all that other stuff, yeah, it's almost like it's still not there yet until it is. But that's going to be a significant amount of money coming back.
Right. And the reason it's not showing up, Greg, because it's been granted. However, they have not built it and they can't build it because they haven't made the stipulations of the grant. They haven't made the commitments or I should say the requirements of the commitment.
Okay, but the 300,000, that's to the Rancheria, right?
Correct.
So
That-
if we got the $300,000, let's say the Rancheria calls tomorrow and said like, hey, we don't need the loan, and then add that to what we're getting back from the Amador Foundation, almost overnight, it would be just less than $900,000 that would be back in this account.
Yeah.
So, um, so that, and I mean, that's, there's definitely the potential for that, especially with the Almanor Foundation. I mean, that one, uh, it doesn't appear that, the housing development is still going through with Plymouth Rural Services, Plymouth County, and RRA as a separate entity. But the Almanor Foundation is not participating in that part anymore, and won't. So that money, that $584,000, we should be seeing that here in the next few weeks. The Rancheria money, that's another sort of, your guess is as good as any's on when and how much that will be.
My mom would say that's another
Where's-
kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Patrick, weren't you going to ask them about that though?
Yeah,
Ask the
which one?
Rancheria about
Yeah, so
Ranch.
Bill Hubbard, the general counsel for North Valley Community Foundation.
Mhm.
After I asked like Kim and Bill kind of what the next steps were for that, Bill has gone back to the Rancheria to redraw up their loan agreement, or what would be a loan agreement, with kind of a no later than of March of 26 for them to provide some type of new update and budget, still requiring the $300,000 from us and the $600,000 from North Valley Community Foundation. So I think the last update was that the Rancheria needed to kind of review what they thought was like kind of a fair loan agreement for that timeline, and then they were gonna agree, disagree, modify, what have you, with North Valley Community Foundation. So that's where that is right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, anything else, Danny?
Well, it's not the treasurer, but I would like to go ahead and say we ought to give kudos to Karen Morcom and her crew for putting together the community Thanksgiving potlucks. She was a little disappointed. She had hoped to be more people there, but I reassured her, there was, I don't know, 50, 60 maybe, kind of in and out or whatever.
That's
But
pretty
I
good.
assured her that everybody that was there was more than appreciative of her having that, putting that together, getting people to support it. And, myself, my wife, and our friend, that's where we had our Thanksgiving. So,
Yeah. I mean, 50 or 60 people, that's pretty good. I mean,
yeah. And we did have people that, could not cook on their own. They didn't have facilities and other things, or just, two people, coming there. But
I
anyway,
think that might actually even be more than what they've had at the spot the last couple of years, just because when it's outside, and the weather can be hit or miss, and the greenhouse is as comfy and cozy as it can be. So that might actually even be a few more than they've had there over the last, since the fire.
right. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of
Yeah.
bring that up here as a community input. But anyway,
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that worked out. And yeah, thanks to Karen for hosting that effort. Okay. The next item is a continued discussion on the next steps in transition. So sent out the survey a couple weeks ago. And again, purely draft, and just some of the questions are, take them or leave them, or cut them up or add to them, don't, what have you. But just wanted to kind of have a, more of a just sort of roundtable discussion about that. And, as we just had the treasurer's report, and funding and grant making is but one part of what we've been doing. And then the other part has been to try to move along some of these projects. And I'll say that, like, now with the county having a long-term recovery coordinator who's, theoretically focused on those items from the county's perspective, and then those things should be kind of nested with the county plans and the strategic plans that the strategic planning and visioning that the supervisors have been doing, which again, I don't know exactly where that stands. Got a kind of a to-do list to follow up with Kevin Goss on that, and then Mimi Hall as well, to get some insight into like what their next steps are. The last update that I did get was from July, and that was just the supervisors themselves working on, um, some things like actually doing the work amongst themselves. So anyway, so as it relates to actually moving some of the community and long-term recovery projects along, um, the county is now in a position to sort of lead that effort. And then it so begs the question about how much focus is going to be applied in the burn scar areas from Indian Falls, Greenville, Canyon Dam, and Warner Valley. So, in no particular order, but just kind of thoughts on that. And Lida, you followed up with an email. Danny, thank you for your feedback on the questionnaire, the survey, um, as it stands as kind of a singular item. And then Lida, you had some other thoughts as well. But yeah, over to the team here to kind of discuss.
I liked Lida's input. I thought she had some good ideas.
Okay, what specifically, Marcia?
Said we should talk more, give more of a story in the beginning about history in the DFC.
Okay. And should that go in the survey, or should that be like in an email that it goes with the survey itself?
What do you think, Lida?
I mean, I think I would put it as a preface in the survey because otherwise the two things get divorced and people don't make the connection. So
Yep.
I would definitely put it in this intro to the survey.
Okay. What else?
It seems to me, I mean, I guess I'm unclear as to what kind of function a DFC transition organization could serve that isn't already being served in some other way in the
Yeah. Yeah.
in the communities. I mean, particularly, and I'm not, I don't know Indian Valley well at all. So maybe there are big gaps there that I don't know about. And as I said in my email, I think Warner Valley is just like sui generis. It's not a part of that community, and its needs are way different from what is needed in Indian Valley. So I don't even know how Warner Valley fits into this picture at this point.
Well, I think to that point, Lida, I think, when I think about what we already have as community organizations here in Indian Valley, whether it be, from Taylorsville, and then I'm going to rope in Canyon Dam a little bit here, but if you go far and wide, we have there's a lot, right? There's
Yeah,
a
it sounds
for
like it.
for a community that, has a few thousand people in it. If you, go up Genesee, North Arm, um, Taylorsville, Greenville, there's a lot going on between in civic organizations, youth organizations, senior organizations, and all those take commitments from people, right? And so
Mhm.
that's where I sort of shudder at thinking like, oh man, let's put another one on top of that or with it, right? That's another, it's another committee to be elected. It's another group that, time and time again. And I think that, also defining what the needs are sometimes takes time, right? And so my other concern is going from one thing, this, like the DFC, and then right into like an Indian Valley collaborative. And then you start down that road, but you're not even sure what it should be yet because you don't really know what the needs are fully.
Yeah.
You have an idea, but maybe taking a step back and really assessing what the community needs or wants And, if anything, that's why I would advocate, and we've sort of talked about it a little bit here, but like a semi-annual, like sort of conference of those groups that already exist. And it doesn't have to be everybody from the Rotary and everybody from the Chamber and everybody from the 4-H's, but everybody sends one, officer from their board, from their committee, from their whatever. And you do it twice a year for like a year or two and kind of iron that type of stuff out and say, hey, is this good enough? Right? Do we have enough of an organization and governance to bring issues that we think are community issues, whether it be fire related, but then more to the point now is kind of like moving beyond just fire recovery things that are
Yeah.
just community things,
Mhm.
and bring those things to Kevin or bring those things to the services the special districts that we have, if it's relevant to them, those types of ideas and things like that. So that's a recommendation because I just I know from the other side how hard it is sometimes to get participation with the bandwidth that everybody has, with where they are in their life, right? And everybody's different, right? Some people have more time to be able to devote and volunteer to groups and committees than others because of just where they are with their professional life or family life or whatever it is. Um, and there's only so much to go around. So that's
And it seems like everybody that's been on this committee, as long as I've been on it, they're already involved in the community and doing
in so many other ways.
so many different things.
Yeah.
And so it's like, as always happens, the people that do things. And if you want to try to get other people involved, it's not that easy, to find more people that are willing to step up and spend, whatever it is, 2 hours every other week in a meeting and dealing with these things. Anyway, that's my.
I don't think should be twice a month. I think it's more once every other, either once a month or every other month. Just to get a feeling for what the community is doing and what the challenges are, what the needs are, what's happening, to make sure you're not doing something that somebody else is already doing.
But isn't that kind of the long-term recovery person's job? I mean, shouldn't that be in the purview of that person?
I think with when it comes to recovery projects, yeah, that person is able to coordinate, like as the name would imply, coordinate the actions of the others to ensure that there isn't a duplication of effort, especially when there's limited resources. And then from the counties, the way in which the county is able to apply for and access state and federal grants, that's also helpful because we're kind of cutting out the middle people, and going straight to the source to where the county can apply and then administer those types of grants to work on these larger projects, and that's what it's going to take, these larger public dollars. But yes, having that enough information to understand as a coordinator from the left to the right of what everybody's working on, so that you can help, um, veer folks not away from what they want to do, but say, hey, wow, this group is already working on that. Do you want to partner with them and
Mhm.
maximize your efforts instead of trying to, do it singularly in different ways?
Yeah.
Danny, you got your hand up, and then I think we've got Matt.
Yeah, I guess that having the county, I'm a little hesitant to have the county have the ownership completely. Sure, they should be helping and doing stuff, but I think we still need an advocacy body somehow, that brings to get people together, encouraging. And I don't know about anybody else, but I can't say I'm satisfied with the way Greenville looks right now at all. And I'm not encouraged by what I see anything coming down the road that's going to brighten that uh, outlook. And it's almost like maybe we have to do some more things within our abilities with it, because it's not really, I don't see it anywhere in the charter, but how many people are going to rebuild, or what's preventing people from rebuilding, what can be done. I don't know that I've heard that as part of a long-term coordinator recovery's charter. So yeah, I'm just kind of, a little concerned by that, and but also see, I'm outside the valley, right? I'm not in the valley all the time, so I try to participate as much as I can and such. But I think if it goes to the county, then my voice goes away. I don't know where it's voiced because I hard to see, talk to the chamber. Oh, you don't have a business here, so what do you need? You're just, granted have property there, but that's, barely a shoe-in, except they want my tax money. I'll stop.
Matt, you got your hand up.
Yeah. I mean, we were given the $3 million to spend, and we've spent, I mean, we've pretty much spent it all apart from 2 grand. And I think we've done a pretty good job at that. There's been a lot of transparency and community involvement and things. And if it doesn't go on from here, I don't think it has to go on from here. I think um, like a lot of the momentum was about spending, it was about whatever, spending this money here or spending this money there. Like it wasn't us who was like planting the trees or repairing the historic facades. That was grants that we did a good job of recruiting and finding and vetting and doing all those things. So given that we got 2 grand left, I mean, I don't mind calling it a day at that. With the idea being that if this 900 grand or 300 grand or whatever comes back in 3 months' time, that we can reform and think about how we're going to do that. But there's always going to be need for development and help and coordination, all these things. I just don't know that we have to take that on, especially given that we've just recruited Callie and she seems pretty competent. So whatever we can put on her for those kind of coordination things across these non-profits, I think someone else can do that. So if DFC doesn't ceases to exist, I think we can be proud of our work and don't think it needs to continue on.
Yeah, to that point, Matt, I mean, I know for North Valley Community Foundation, they, while there are still funds available or however it shakes out, they like having sort of a connection, right? A conduit to a local entity such as yourselves to do exactly what you just mentioned, just to be kind of give everything a local sanity check, kind of a vetting of like, is this organization that we just got a grant from, is that an organization you've heard of? And what do they do? And what's their purpose? And how does it relate to, in this case, the Dixie Fire? So that's been, the steering committee and the way that things have been managed over the last few years has been very helpful to the community foundation while they're holding the funds, that they're not, expected to do this from, Chico alone. As grant requests come in, they're like, well, wait, who is this and how does it apply? And, before, tens of thousands of dollars out of pop go out the door. So I think there's that purpose right there that's back to focused on the granting, the grant making. And then how it relates to the other sort of things that are really long, like a definition of long term on the rebuilding effort. How maybe other entities sort of take the baton at this point or not. I don't know. Lida, you have your hand up.
Just curious what Danny has in mind as the kind of organization that would meet the need that he described. I mean, if you have something in mind, or if I don't know, because I don't think that we really are in a position to serve that function. I see us serving the function of helping the North Valley community organization make those decisions. That makes a lot of sense to me, but I'm not sure what you had in mind, Danny.
Well, and that's it. I think we'd have to modify the charter in a sense, really. But I still think it has to do with Dixie Fire recovery. Getting property owners back, finding out and working towards that. I think in the beginning, that's how we're trying to get participation in the DFC. We got the initial mailings out to property owners and such like that, but I don't know that it's ever really been followed up and participated in. So and to find out what their roadblocks were. And that's I still think that's part of DFC. I don't see it's a different organization. That is, what are the roadblocks? Are there any roadblocks? And could there be anybody else willing to come back if some of the roadblocks were addressed? And surprise, surprise, when you get stuff rebuilt and then you get the new tax bill and it wasn't anywhere close to what you had expected it to be. And some people walked away because of that. And other people are walking away because they can't afford to build the driveways to the requirements for fire control to get in to protect their houses. So I guess more of that information to figure out maybe how we could help people, or maybe there's grants for that. I don't know. But there are some things that I think along that line that maybe could help, or like I say, is it totally out of our scope and never could be brought into the scope?
Well, I think, like the in the time that we've been doing this, there's been other entities that have emerged, like the Plymouth Housing Council, right? So they're looking at housing overall across the county, but of course, the big part of that is how housing was how it's been changed because of the Dixie Fire, how the housing landscape from East County all the way up to Northwest County has changed because of the impact of the fire. So if that's something that interests you, Danny, in going to those meetings, and they are doing them mostly virtual now. They were holding them in person, but I think they've come around to the fact that it's a lot easier for people to make it during a midday on a weekday if they do it virtually. And that is maybe a good venue to bring that up. And then also the Planning Commission, the Plymouth County Planning Commission, a lot of those housing pieces are discussed there as it relates to the housing element that they just published through the planning department. But that's been the tricky thing about this, not just since the beginning, but day in, day out, is when it comes to private property and how a homeowner or property owner feels about whether or not they want to rebuild. And some of that we can influence, but we can't necessarily control. And that's where I keep coming back to having more influence over like the public side, right? Of being able to help and create opportunity, like the county, by them contributing $1.5 million to the Greenville Safety Center. That's a big move on the public side of the house because now we'll have a fully functioning fire department, ambulance service, sheriff substation, all that stuff. And that just makes things that much more enticing for someone to rebuild their home because they have those things closer. Likewise, back to the Rancheria, like, a lot of the positives of the Rancheria is not just the services that it will provide, that's the obvious medical, dental, and pharmacy right off the top, but the potential for 60 people to work there Monday through Friday, 8 in the morning to 5 in the evening, 60 people like in downtown Greenville, that's a thing, right? And that right there. So like that's something that we can influence through helping them out, with the rebuild, which is, that's 2 years in the making. But it's those types of things where, we can be effective, where it's like some of these other ones, it's real hard, right? Um, to 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 property owner by property owner, determining what it is on a case by case basis. What are the things that are, in some cases, it's just like, I don't want to rebuild. I just don't want to do that. And I think to your point, Danny, I think there are some obstacles still. And that's, one of the reasons why the county went so far as to go to reinstate the Title 24 building code as opposed to the Title 25 building code to make it a little bit easier for homeowners to, negotiate around the WUI compliance for their rebuilds, but I don't know if that was enough. It's still also really expensive to build things right now. So there's a lot of things.
Without a doubt.
Um, Say again?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of things, but I just, if, and has the planning commission or is it the new coordinator, long-term recovery coordinator willing or chartered, are they gonna go out and frankly ask or see, will the property owners and, build a questionnaire, say, what could help you move back? And we're interested in building the community. We like you to come back and build our house. What can we, what are the obstacles? That's what I'm see. And I think if we move it too far, and we don't do it, so that's, I think, something that could be done. And we have to maybe encourage
Yeah.
the planning committee or encourage a long-term recovery person.
What about the community services district? Because most of the people that you're talking about are in their service area, right? You go a mile east, west, north of the Four Corners. That's the Indian Valley Community Services District. I just kind of wonder, back to not duplicating effort, has the Indian Valley Community Services District ever wondered why most of the homes that they would provide service to, how do they try to increase their revenue by getting people to rebuild? Why does this community services district charge $6,500 for a hookup? It's a lot of money.
Right.
So anyway, there's a lot of issues. But yes, I don't think it's like, I'm not saying like, well, we're never going to figure out, so not even try. That's not what I'm saying. But with, focus and concentration, and that's been sort of like, at least for me personally, is like, where can I focus and concentrate on where I think I'm going to get the most bang for my buck as like a singular person? If I use the example of $25,000 just got 2 weeks ago, just got sent over to the services district so they can increase their communication. And they have a staff of 4 people, right? Full time and one of part-time. And it's a hard job. And I'm not criticizing them for not being able to do it. They've got 4.5 FTE, right? I got one, me, right?
Right.
So if you think about the same parallel of like information, where would I spend my time on information, or you're trying to figure out where the DFC or the steering committee can be as effective as possible. And there's certain things that it's like across the 5 sort of functional areas of housing, economic development, infrastructure, natural and cultural resources, and health and social services. When you're looking at like rebuild frameworks, which is why like the recovery support function. I know we've gone over that before. You guys remember all those icons. That's why so many of those are sort of driven on the public side, because if you can, if we can access public dollars, like this housing development, right? That HCD money, the CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery. It's those DR dollars that the county applied for that are going to go into a housing development run by PRS, right? So
Right.
like that money is specifically for disaster recovery. That's public money from the feds to the state for Plymouth County to use for disaster recovery. It takes a while and it ain't pretty, but with this housing plan, that's potentially, rental units right here in Greenville that can get something going. And then, when someone sees another unit go up that kind of looks like a house, but it's got 2 rentals, maybe they decide, okay, now it's not so scary for me to rebuild my home right next to that because there are people living here. So that's an example of things that we can affect, or at least the county can affect, that make it enticing for private property owners to maybe change their mind. I don't know.
Okay. I'm just looking for someone to help keep the county interested. And kind of slightly on the other thing too is that, yeah, the day is not done yet, Matt, because, we have that, we might as well say we really have $545,000 that's going to come back starting the first of the year, or at the end of this year, first of the next year, that to allocate and take care of. So the day is not done yet, in my mind. Or it can be, and I could stop being the treasurer, because if the day is done, then there's no treasury to guard, right? Or work with.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Dan. I mean, again, our that account's going to balloon right back up here real soon. So, and then we've got 3 grants in the hopper from Indian Valley, the Indian Valley Innovation Hub. Those are still there. We've got the one from the Greenville Fire Cats, which was tabled as well. Um, but nothing new on top of that yet. So what I'll do is kind of take some of this just from this conversation and then also the emailed feedback, and I'll revise the questionnaire or the survey that I developed. I'll send it back out to everybody again, just to give it another look and just another opportunity to provide feedback and change it and just make it as tight as possible. And then we can determine really who or what is the best audience to start that with. I think Matt, you'd said, I think you'd said just to kind of start with groups, other groups and organizations, and then maybe go out to get full, community feedback. I was thinking about kind of doing it in sort of a measured sort of way anyway, so we could kind of analyze where the feedback is coming from, like which pod, right? If we do groups and organizations first, I don't know who else. I don't know. I was gonna try to the rule of 3, right? I'm trying to break this up into 3 pods, but maybe it's just 2. Groups and organizations first, and then put it out to the community writ large, and then that way you can kind of see who feels what about what. But yeah. So with that, are there any other updates that the team has? Greg, do you have anything for the team?
No, I think we're covering it. I'm just to tack on to what has been said in terms of me not rebuilding. It's like, one, it's because of my age, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking that if I need to have the resources to pull it back out of that house, if I rebuild it, that I might not be able to get what I put into it because there's no economy there. So
Yeah,
I'm
fair
afraid that
point.
I could build a house and then, you know, so if I need assisted living or whatever in the future, that I wouldn't be able to get it back. So I think that's a big part of it. And then in terms of resources coming back in, I know that there's been, I know that PRS would like to, have money coming back in. I think that that's okay. I think I'd like to see additional resources developed. Like I would like to see that campground developed. I mean, if we did that, we'd have an additional resource in the community that would last for 30, 40 years. Where we would be able to we're talking about all the various runs and different things that we could do. I'd rather see some of that money go into that as opposed to a project that's going to happen whether we give them money or not, right? Because PRS is going to do it. So we could give them money and then not have the resource, or we could let them do their thing and have an additional resource. So it's kind of my thought on that.
Okay, thanks. Marcia, do you have anything for the team?
I called Cass and Sherry because I was really excited that they sold their house and asked them who
Oh,
they
good.
sold it to. So they sold it to David Long, who used to live here. His daughter Adina was in our son Will's class. And after the fire and he lost his house, he moved to Magalia and wanted to move back. And Cass is hoping to sell those houses to families that will have school-aged children. But he didn't get anybody like that. But David wanted to buy it, so he's happy. And I told him I'd, make him cookies. When he moves in,
Well,
I'll
that's
bring him
worth it.
cookies. Because I knew him before. It's been a long time since I've seen him. But I
Maybe
thought,
that should be the incentive for housing building. Marcia's cookies.
yeah. Yeah. So now, they're looking at different lots to do house number 2. And then they're getting people to contribute to house number 3. And they have different lots that they're looking at. So that's exciting because you're talking about we want more people to live here,
Yeah,
and it's going to help a lot.
that is. Every little bit counts. It's a kind of a layered approach. Yeah. Well, thanks for that update, Marcia.
You're welcome.
Danny, anything else for the team?
Yeah, actually, I would go back is the other group to add is, somehow get property owners because they're not going to be in the groups and they could be, away like I am further away and 3 states, 4 states. I know a property owner that's actually out in Maine now. And but they won't be coming back, but still making sure that survey of information gets to them somehow. And a lot of them were on some of the DFC lists, but anyway, maybe just get a hold of the mailing list from the recorder's office and make sure every property owner around gets a survey. And the physical survey, maybe they can fill it out physically because some won't have access to computers or internet or the link to go, so here it is in a paper, hard copy, but it's easier to go online and do it.
Mhm.
That's kind of just, I want to make sure that group gets polled.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Lida, do you have anything for the team?
No, not a thing. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Matt, December 6th.
Yeah, December the 6th,
Crescent?
next Saturday is Christmas in Crescent. So please come down and we're going to be singing carols with Marsha's team and other fun things. We've got a Christmas market across the road and the store will be open and yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So that's next Saturday,
Great.
5 to 7.
Hey,
Yeah.
Matt, will we be singing carols outside or inside at the
Mostly outside,
outside?
probably mostly outside, but maybe we can go inside. We might be able to go inside the store. Depends how many people are caroling,
Right.
but mostly outside. So wear a few sweaters.
That'll work. Shelby, anything for the team
No
here?
updates at this time.
Okay. So with regard to the next meeting, what I was going to recommend is kind of making it on call. If there are changes to anything that we just discussed, like I said, when I use the example, we get a call tomorrow and the rancher is like, you know what, we don't need the money, or I'm on our foundation. It's like, yep, here you go. All that stuff is taking shape. But if there are no changes, is everybody good foregoing a meeting in 2 weeks from today on the December 15th?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to have a meeting. I don't want to make something up to brief you guys on if there are no changes, you know?
Right.
So
Appreciate
I'm sure
that.
you all could use a couple more hours in the holiday season anyway. I know I can.
That's Patrick. We definitely, at least I'll say it. I'm sure everybody appreciates your diligence on this. So what you're doing and such. So yes,
Yeah,
we
no
we
sweat.
could use that spare time wisely.
Right on. Right on. Well, I am going to try to, I met with Kaylee Ward once and Tracy, try to do that again, and then also get some more feedback from a couple of the supervisors on kind of where they stand, and get a better understanding of how they want to proceed fire related. So anyway, those are a couple of things I'm working on. All right, well then that's what we'll do for now, and then we'll just stay connected via email if there's any changes to that. And with
So
that,
maybe the first week in January, but maybe not. We'll just wait to hear what you say, when we should meet.
yes, ma'am, that would be it.
Okay.
And with that, may I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
I move to adjourn today's meeting.
Thank you, Ida. And second,
I'll second.
thank you, Greg. And all in favor?
I.
Aye.
None opposed, I assume. All right, meeting adjourned at 5:03. All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Have a nice evening.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.